Welcome, everyone. It's really good to see this lovely group. I'm excited to have you here and to be here. And I want to thank Brian for having my back and really helping me with details and guidance. Thank you, Brian. So I'm going to start with an attunement. So I'm going to invite you to allow your eyes to close if that feels okay. To come home to the interior just as it is in this moment. Just noticing what's present and alive. And using attention, awareness, like a searchlight, just moving around the body, just noticing what qualities of feeling are there, energies, even numbness. It's all welcome. Bringing awareness to the breath. And let's all take a couple of very deep breaths with full exhales, and sounds are welcome. And coming back to normal breathing, just spending a few cycles being aware of breathing like this. And bringing awareness to the sit bones, being supported by the seat, the feet being supported, maybe wiggling the toes, tapping them, noticing contact. And then bringing awareness to here we are together. Thanking yourself for your commitment to be here, for growing, for learning, for being together. So I'm going to drop in a quote from this lecture 224, Creative Emptiness. So the guide's words: create a new life for yourself and your environment of a kind that humanity hasn't yet known. You're preparing for it. Others are preparing for it here and there, all over the world, quietly. These are golden nuclei that spring up out of the gray darkness of untruthful thinking and living. So further this channel that's developing in you. It will bring you the excitement, the peace you've always wanted. Enter this new phase with courage and affirmation. Get out of that old attitude you still have towards yourself, as if you were beaten down. You're not beaten down unless you agree to this role. You can rise up and become who you truly are and experience life at its best. So taking a conscious breath here, allowing these words to settle. And in the right time, coming back into our spaces, just noticing what's around us, and then bringing awareness to looking into the eyes of those who are here. So again, welcome, and welcome, Maura. Thank you for joining us. So let me introduce myself. I'm Elaine Shaw. I'm a fairly new Pathwork helper, just claiming my helpership in February of this year. Glad to be here. I've led a few, hi Kay. I've led a few GPS sessions. This is the first time as a helper, so I'm excited. And I'd like us to go around popcorn style, just saying your name, where you are, how you come to the Pathwork, anything that feels like you want to say at this moment. And anyone can start.
Okay, let me start because this is morning here. It's 8-something a.m. in China. I'm Angela from mainland China. I am on my house. It's not in my house. I'm on my house. I'm playing hide and seek to avoid my 2-year-old son. So that I can take part in this session. Why I'm here? It's a long story. I work with David Shoring and Brian. I can't see his surname.
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Yes.
I organized the 2 workshop, Pathwork workshop workshops in China back in 2018 and 2019. So I get to know this this school and feel very much drawn by it. So I started to read the lectures. Eventually this year, I was brought to this session by David and Brian. They said there are many beautiful things that I can explore, so I pick up this one. I'm happy to be here. It's took me some effort to be here with you, but I'm happy that I'm on the path. Okay.
Welcome, Angela. Thank you. This is exciting to hear your story. Thank you.
I'll go next because I just got done working and I need to eat. And so I'm going to turn my video off while I do that so I don't entertain you guys. My name is Kay. I've been in the Pathwork since I think I started in 1998 as far as taking workshops and then joined the first 4x4. I've done several of these. The last one I did was with Brian, the negativity. That was great, and I am so happy that you are sharing this one because it's perfect timing for me. And I'm in with that.
Thanks, Kay.
This is Susan, and I'm not sure why my picture isn't showing up. It says that I'm in safe driving mode, but I can't figure out how to get out of it. But anyway, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is actually my first GPS session. I was introduced to Pathwork by an old friend of mine, who did this about 30 years ago, and she recommended it for me, and I'm just now getting around to taking her up on her suggestion.
Oh, we're really glad to have you, Susan.
So I got a message saying that you had asked me to start my video, but I don't see how to do that.
We can see you.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we see
Okay.
you,
All right.
Susan.
Okay. There. All right. All right. Good. I just said okay.
Great.
I'm Anne, and I'm in Charlottesville, and I feel I've been involved with the Pathwork for 5 or 6 years, and I feel very grateful to have just finished my first year of TP, and we were actually able to have a live session at Seven Oaks a couple of weeks ago for our last get together. So that was thrilling after a whole year on Zoom. So glad to be here.
Thanks, Anne. Congratulations.
I'm Judy. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I have been learning about the Pathworks for maybe, I don't know, 3-4 years, something like that. And I've been really enjoying the GPS series. So thank you for presenting this one for us, Elaine.
Thanks, Judy.
I'm Mara from Northern California, and I heard about Pathwork from Marielle probably 30 years ago also. Have only done reading except for one GPS last month, and I'm glad to be joining.
Welcome, Mara.
Thanks. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lorena Chong from Mexico City, and I have been in the Pathwork already for some years in the past now, and I have been participating in the GPS already for probably it's almost 1 year, and it has been very nice. And welcome, Elaine. Good luck in your first experiences.
Thanks.
My name's Kath. I'm over in Queensland in Australia, so it's morning here as well. Yeah, look, I am so grateful for these GPS sessions who can join in, and I just love that there's familiar faces. Like, you know, I've never met any of you in real life, but I just feel as if just seeing you every now and then on the screen is so good. So yeah, don't always get to join in because of the time. It's right in the middle of the morning, but I'm so grateful I can be here today and look forward to sharing and just feeling really connected to you all, actually. Yeah, so thank you.
Thanks so much, Kath. I spent a year as Sydney as home base. So I'm loving hearing your accent. That just reminds me of kind of coming home to Sydney. Thanks. Welcome, Dixie. We're doing go-arounds.
Well, hi there. I'm glad I figured out how to get in. Nice to see you all.
Where are you from, and what's your connection with the Pathwork?
Central Ohio, and I've been reading for, heading toward 10 years, I suppose.
Thanks. Welcome.
Sure. And I'm outside in the dark.
So my name is Brian. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and a Pathwork helper. And I washed up from a shipwreck on the shores of Seven Oaks in 1993. And it's been my home really ever since. What I wanted to share here, though, is after all this time, a lecture comes up like for tonight, and I go, oh, I know that lecture. And then I pick it up and give it a look, and I go, oh, wait a minute. I don't know this lecture at all. But there's a freshness in the living words that are printed on the page that just reaches out and can meet us where we are now, no matter how many times we've looked at the same line. I love that. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
I am Esther from Marblehead, Massachusetts, and I've been involved with Pathwork since 2018. And I just was accepted in the transformational program. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Karen, and I'm in northern Wisconsin. I've been learning about Pathwork for over 20 years, but I keep learning more. And like Brian said, the lectures, when you reread them, it's like you've never read them before. So, glad to be here.
Thanks, Karen. Glad you're here.
I'm Joyce from the Denver area, and I've been working with the Pathwork lectures for about a year, and I've taken a couple classes with Liam, which I found very valuable. And I want to thank you for this presentation. I think this lecture is very timely for me right now, so thank you.
Thanks, Joyce. Welcome.
My name is Alex, and I'm in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I graduated from the Pathwork in 1993, and just recently reconnected with Seven Oaks, and in about January of 2021. So I've been coming to these classes since about January or February, and I really look forward to them every month, and I really appreciate that they're being offered. Thank you.
Great to have you, Alex.
I'm Amy. I've been doing Pathwork. I can't remember what year I started. I went all the way through to half of helper training. And I'm really glad you're doing this, Elaine. Nice to see everyone.
Good to see you, Amy. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
I'm Dick. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and always good to get on these GPS calls because you get to see lots of people and hear lots of opinions on the pathwork of the questions. It just occurred to me that the book fell in my lap somehow. I don't remember how I got it back in the early 90s. And I've been reading it for years and years until I finally found the program, the GPS program, or the TP program, and got into that a few years ago and spent several years in there. And I just remembered the very first person I ever met on the grounds of Pathwork in Madison, Virginia was Elaine Shaw. It's amazing how we get a full circle on that. So I'm really tickled that you're leading this, and you're a helper now, Elaine. So I think that's just tremendous. So congrats, and I'll stay in touch with you as life goes on. So good to be with everybody.
Thanks, Dick. Wow, I'm just really appreciating the national and international quality of this group. How wonderful. I'm celebrating that. Excited to move into the next part. And oh, let's see, Frank, did you?
Oh, okay.
You didn't.
Frank
Sorry.
in Richmond, Virginia. Happy to be here tonight. I think Elaine was one of the first Pathworkers I met when I went to Seven Oaks. And I graduated the TP program in 2019. It's nice that this GPS series is happening because it helps me stay connected. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Glad I didn't ignore you. All right. So we have a a couple of people I think are fairly new to the Pathwork. So I am going to do my brief intro to Pathwork, just to orient us that this is a contemporary path of personal and spiritual growth and transformation. And it's a blend of Western psychology and Eastern perspectives and practices. I see it as a scaffolding that holds so much that is being offered out there, but it is a complete scaffolding that's able to incorporate lots of practices and wisdom that is out there. And a prime piece of it is learning to objectively and compassionately observe and explore ourselves, to integrate all parts of ourselves, and including the parts that can make us feel uncomfortable, that we're less than thrilled with, to know that these two are parts of us and they require our compassionate acceptance of our humanity. When we can do that from this non-judgmental place, it really is freeing, that there is a transformation. So onward to this lecture, 224, Creative Emptiness. So the work that we do in the spiritual path, or any spiritual path, allows a change in consciousness. We grow, we purify ourselves, we do the hard work of developing and knowing ourselves more deeply. So getting another person. And we become increasingly ready to awaken and become enlightened. This isn't just for people who sit in the cave or are someplace else, that it is our birthright to be able to claim our larger consciousness. So we become, in this process, receptive channels for this force, that this power that's released into the inner universe according to the guides. Oh, I'm getting an echo here. I'm not sure where that's from.
I think it's coming from Dixie.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. So how is this experience, this inner power that flows through us as we open our channels? Well, these are the words of the guide in this lecture. Your whole being, including your body and your energy, is experienced as vibrantly alive. Energy goes through it, feelings go through it, and something else comes to the fore that we may not have named. And that's this inner guidance. I'm sorry, things are switching here, so I'm a little distracted. So I think you can all hear me. Energy goes through it and we get this guidance. And it's the truth, encouragement, wisdom, specifically destined to our lives as they are in this moment, just as we need it most. So that emptiness, that vibrant aliveness, is actually, according to the guide's words, God talking to us, this inner God consciousness. At any moment, it's talking where we need it the most. This vibrant voice speaks in wisdom and love, not in generalities, but specifically to us. So I'm going to ask this question: how have you had this experience? Is this something that you've tasted or maybe even live in? Now, anyone can offer. And I am needing to change my view here. Anyone wish to speak to an experience of this?
Yeah, I can. I might get tearful because it happened just on last Friday night, so very recent. And I was having an internal feeling of appreciation, and this could just feel that in the moment I made a decision. You know, that constant turning towards the God part of me. So I was at the end of the day, it was nighttime. I'm driving home, and and I could feel that I just made the decision that I was just going to open and just let it be what it was. And in that moment, this is probably going to sound crazy to some of you guys, in that moment, so I feel very connected to nature. And I feel one of the ways that God talks to me is through my connection with nature. In that moment, so I'm driving along this little tiny road. I live in rural Queensland. There's no houses, no street lights. This light comes sort of directly towards me. So I stop the car and get out. And I was present for a meteor shower at that exact moment that I had thought that. And it was the most beautiful thing. It was like as if it was like 100 meters above me. I know it wasn't, but it was just, and then at the end of it, when I got back in the car to continue on, these words that are not the kind of language I would use, but they were, you know, do not discount this. Do not discount my feelings, and do not discount myself. And yeah, so I feel as if, Elaine, I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but those kind of things, when they happen, I feel as if that feels to me like God saying, I hear you, I'm with you, you know, you're doing okay, just hang in there, you know. Yeah, so, and that happened just very recently. So I guess that's probably why it sort of, I wondered, yeah.
Thanks for allowing us to witness this with you. Really appreciate that, Kath. Anybody else want to speak to an experience like this?
Well, I'll jump in. I have been in a intimate relationship for the last year plus with a lady. And it's been a really big struggle for me to work my way through it. And there's been several times during the year when I was convinced it was over. And every time I wound up going through the process of getting my psyche ready to express that it was over, I got I was it's difficult to describe. I kept getting downloads, if you will, that this is a deeper truth. I need to keep moving into a deeper truth with her and explain things, and it kept evolving. And recently, I mean, very recently, in the last 2 weeks, another incredible awareness came, and I keep having to move through my fears of being abandoned. I'm going to go through life without a partner, et cetera, and just keep coming back to the truth of what's coming through or down, and journaling it out. And I, on some level, and we shared with it a couple of nights ago, getting it out and sharing it and having the courage to do that with her, and she was courageous enough to receive it. Major shifts happen inside, and I don't know how else to explain it. But the trick is to be able to have, for me, the courage to really go with all the honesty that's involved in it, because part of me wants to hold back. I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to be abandoned, et cetera, et cetera. And so those for me have been incredible experiences of listening to some guidance, some bigger guidance than me. And then I got to really just trust, because I don't know what the outcomes. But already I can feel things shifting, even after a couple of days, and I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't need to know, and that's really nice too. And so anyway, that's my recent experience of how the guidance works. I'm hoping, because I really, part of me doesn't really know, but I can feel that there's some really deep truth to the whole process here. So thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Dick. Yeah, anyone else want to share before we move to the next part? All right, so you can tuck that away if at some point you want to share later. So how do we become receptive to this power? This is, some people have shared what happened to them, and we want to make ourselves a channel that is more and more open. So we need to understand the principles of this creative emptiness according to this lecture. But as Dick, you mentioned fear, we have to first understand our fear of emptiness. Now, this is kind of the blocking point. So we can really get stuck in being busy mind, and it can manifest both inwardly and outwardly. Our thoughts, we actually can stay overactive. I know this one, get busy. If I'm feeling some anxiety, that's the time when I really get down to weeding. So we can get stuck in this agitated mind. And the fear is, if we get quiet and empty, still there'll be nothing in there. Now, what will be? There might be nothing. So it's often an unconscious fear. We don't want to acknowledge it if we are aware of it. It's hard to say that, we have this fear. But what we know is if we avoid it, it actually becomes stronger, that fear. It becomes more toxic. So really, the place of acknowledging the fear is here is key. So the guide's words are, the self-deception is futile, and I guess if we're just strengthening the problem, yeah, that doesn't really work. So how important it is for us to compassionately and openly own the fear and to deal with it, just like we know through the pathwork. It's like going through it is the place where we can come out the other side. Oftentimes we're just very resistant. We don't want to experience it. So we think that, again, the busyness, we can stave off fear. So the important aspect, the consciousness to bring to this fear, is to be tender and present to it, which is usually what we don't want to do with fear. This actually makes us more courageous and resilient. We can develop our abilities to tolerate difficult feelings, and it increases our ability to be self-compassionate. So I'm going to ask that you bring to mind an experience where you're wanting to be still or calm, or perhaps go to sleep. You want to drift off to sleep, and it's not, the mind is not cooperating. And perhaps there's anxiety when that happens. There might be frank fear. There, just tune into a time. How was that for you? And actually, I think this is a good place to do breakout rooms where, and I'm going to suggest just in coming to that memory that you think about what is it that comes up for you when there's the thought of, you know, I want to be calm, I want to be still, I want to be quiet. And we'll take, let's see, how many breakout rooms, Brian? Let's see.
Sorry,
shall we
Elaine,
say,
before we have the breakout rooms, can you repeat that one more time? I think I missed what we're supposed to do. Thank you.
yeah. So I'm asking you to bring to mind an experience where you've wanted to be calm and quiet inside. And maybe if that's not resonating for you, maybe trying to fall asleep and the mind is busy. What is it? What is that like? What do you experience? Just to make space for the human experience of getting still and quiet. So Brian, do you say 5 rooms? Okay. All right. And we'll take, let's see, if each person has a minute to speak, that'll be 5 minutes.
No, not quite.
Are we missing anyone? Oh, there we go. Okay. So anything that you feel called to share with the group? Here come the rest.
Yeah, I'll share that. I realized as I was sharing in my little group that when the stuff starts up, I now often talk to myself about what it's spinning or freaking out about. And I have learned to be so much kinder now also. And I'll sometimes like say, okay, let's not freak out. Let's just not freak out about this. Like, okay, I know, but let's just relax. Let's just relax and release this. Let's just, and also though I have a teacher who's not in Pathwork, but he likes to say, okay, busy mind, be busy. Like, okay, just go ahead, you know? So it seems like my talking to, as if, you know, my other part, there's space, you know? So I'm not like submerged in it so much. There's witnessing and there's freaking out part or spinning part, or, you know? So there's, yeah, so it's like that.
Thank you for naming kindness, you know, as a way of not getting trapped in the identification with, you know, I am the freaking out. That's all of me. That's really important. Thanks,
Yeah.
Amy.
And I've noticed how much kinder I can be to other people now from that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other people? Don't be shy. Or you can be shy. That's welcome too.
Lorena and I were with Amy in a nice little group, and we found that the self-compassion was the piece that was really missing and really difficult to cultivate. So it was really nice hearing Amy's experience of being able to bring forth self-compassion, because the guide always says this is the easiest path if you could do this, but I'm still a work in progress, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for modeling that, Amy. Really appreciate that.
Oh, it's ironic that it's me saying it, because I've always was so hard on myself. So it's.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So moving on to creative emptiness, we've tasted, maybe some of our defenses about getting quiet and still, but the compassionate approach, which is we're not bad because that happens. It's part of our humanity. This is the way we're wired. It's not our fault. Our minds are, thanks to our ancestors, busy because it helped us be safe. To be vigilant allowed, to be aware of the lion that's going to come eat me. However, at this stage, we don't have those kind of dangers that often, and our harm is actually more internal and psychological. So it's important to realize this busy mind, actually can create some of the suffering that we're trying to avoid. So the guide's words, we need to create an atmosphere within that allows emptiness to exist. Otherwise, we're in this perpetual distortion, trying to avoid our fear, wasting vital energy and never allowing inner peace. So from a place of kind of making a kind space for this vulnerability, this fear, we can move on. And I like your teacher's words. Okay, welcome, busy mind, because that's not the end of the story. However, it may be that as our outward chattering stops, we get scared because it's like, what's going to happen here? Is there nothing about me? Am I empty? Is there, this can be very scary. So we're asked to challenge this fear of emptiness, although again, can't be disregarded. We have to go through the fear, but in challenging it, we can also open ourselves to the emptiness as a doorway to our divinity. And again, in the words of the guide, out of emptiness, a new fullness will arise. If you can't let yourself be empty, you'll never be filled. So this receptive, creative emptiness has to be nurtured. It has to be, just again, like Amy is saying, I'm being kind to myself. We're nurturing this ability to go through the fear and rest in a stillness. And there is so much more to be had. So we're being encouraged to listen with our inner ears, listen without urgency, and in a spirit of patience and persevering and positive expectancy that the stillness will manifest a new fullness. So I'm going to have us go into a meditation that will take most of the time. Let's see. Yeah, it takes about 20 minutes. And It's if you'll allow yourself to get comfortable, this is important. I'm going to put up a screen so you don't have to be looking at the screen, allowing your eyes to close. And so meditation is called The Art of Allowing Everything to Be as It Is. So it's important to get comfortable and find a relaxed, supported position. And connecting with your sense of breathing. So noticing the breath. And feeling the body breathing in and out. So in this meditation, we're exploring the art of allowing everything to be as it is. Opening to your senses, allowing listening, coming into a simple, deep state of listening. Not only with your ears, but with your entire body. Listening to feelings and sensations, with our ears listening to sounds and silence. So the art of this meditation is to let go of the meditator. The art of true living is to let go of the aspect of you that is trying to do your life in some way. The aspect of you that is trying to be still, to breathe or attain a certain state, trying to make something happen. So using meditation as an example of this, we can discover a different way. So the first movement is to begin to let go of the meditator, the one who's making effort, trying to change, trying to meditate well. We're reconnecting with being, with body, simply allowing everything to be as it is, not trying to change anything. So the mind may feel disoriented if there's nothing for the meditator to do. Nothing to do or attain opens up the experience that allows everything to be just as it is. In the absence of the meditator, everything is allowed just to be as it is. So, what happens when we allow everything to be as it is? This is the question and the investigation that we're living in this experiment. What happens when there's no strategy, no discipline? Just check in with your whole being, your whole body. Am I really deeply allowing everything to be as it is? When you check in this way, you may notice a certain place of tension in the body, which is a way the body tells that there's not everything is being allowed to be as it is. So if you have a place of tension, just notice and allow that. Allow restlessness to be as it is, which may appear, and just allowing it to be as it is. Because you're exploring in your own body, what happens when you allow the meditator to relax? What happens when you let go of effort? Checking in with your own experience. See what happens when you let go of the me and let it relax out of the center of awareness. Just awareness, no me, nothing to know, nothing to do. It's okay just to be. Allowing yourself to feel that relaxation of just being. You may notice when you relinquish control and effort, a spaciousness comes into awareness, a sense of openness. The simple absence of the controller, the meditator, can be a sense of tremendous openness and of presence. You can feel this openness and presence. There's nothing to understand. If the meditator comes in and asks, "Am I doing this right?" just notice it as an effort to control and just let that be. Don't push any thought away. Don't push any feeling away. Everything arises with an openness of awareness. Thought may rise occasionally. It may not. A thought arises that thinks it's very important that you think about it. Just realize it's simply a thought and relinquish control in a deeper and deeper way. All we're doing is exploring the question for ourselves. What happens if we let go of control? If we let go of the meditator? So we just watch what happens without conclusion and without commentary. Watch without analysis, allowing yourself to connect with that felt sense of being, of presence. This is a natural state of awareness. It doesn't require effort or straining. We're all naturally fully aware. Notice awareness is functioning without any effort. In awareness, there is a deep sense of stillness, an ocean of quiet. A stillness and quiet that is not in resistance to any part of experience. Stillness is an invitation simply to abide in the stillness, in this presence of awareness. recognize that it is the core of what and who you are. And just about the time you think you've relinquished all control and all effort, you may find a deeper level, a deeper opportunity to relax and let go into the body, into presence, to silence. There is almost no end to this letting go. So if mind wanders, just come back to remembrance that all we're doing is exploring what we do when we relinquish control, relinquish self-striving and self-centered efforts. What happens when you allow everything to be as it is? Bringing awareness back to now, the presence, and notice what it feels like to be outside of thought. So I invite you gently, in the right time, to come back into our common space with kindness and tenderness to yourself. So, what wants to be shared?
Elaine, I'd like to share, and I'm not even sure where this fits, but ever since we started talking about this topic, and even before when I saw it written, that this was going to be the topic for tonight, I keep having this flashback to a work scene around feeling emptiness and feeling into the emptiness, feeling into emptiness. And I can't really remember who, maybe Susan, worked with filling myself up with the feeling of emptiness. And just by definition, the paradox of that is that you're no longer empty. And I just can't, that just keeps running through my mind as we talk about this tonight. So I just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Alex. That's kind of a koan. So, 'cause, 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 ' Filling oneself up with emptiness. I want to give credit to Adyashanti. Comes from his meditation, The Art of True Meditation. Did anyone
I got a
hate
little
it?
tripped up because I was trying to let things be as they were and just be with them, and so my mind would be quiet, and then there would be a thought, and I would observe the thought, but I didn't follow it. But then at some point towards the end, you said, and notice what it's like to be beyond thought. And I thought, I don't think I've quite gotten there yet. So I don't know if anybody else experienced that or not, or if you have any thoughts about that, but that was my experience.
So it's a conundrum of if you give up efforting, like that's exactly where, that's the perfection of that moment. There's no other place to be. Because there's no right way to do it. According to this, just letting that be. Other people have that experience?
This is Joyce, and what I experienced during your meditation was I was surprised. It seemed relatively easy for me to accept or to allow things to be just as they are, or just whatever it is, just as it is. And I felt a great deal of calm and peace and well-being, and just an absence of thought. And the absence of thought was wonderful for me, because I tend to be a rather cognitive person. But that experience I experienced as really relief and calming. And it reminded me of how I feel at the end of doing yoga, and you go into Shavasana. And that is a time when you sort of focus on your body to relax you, but then you let go. And at times like that, I experience the same thing. And that is that I do experience an opening within. And sometimes it seems that it does create a receptivity, and I do get, I don't know how to explain it. It's not exactly a voice, but I have guidance that comes through to me. And it seems that was a very similar process as this meditation that you gave us. I seem to experience similar things. And I loved your meditation. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you so much, Joyce. We have a couple more minutes.
I loved it too. It was really nice, Elaine. I feel really calm, and I still feel the stillness. So thank you for guiding that. That was really nice.
Thank you, Judy.
Ditto to Judy. As Dick, and it was a very delightful experience. And your words in the middle just flowed perfectly with where it was at. So thank you, Elaine. It was beautiful.
Thank you. So I want to give you a preview of the next time. We're actually going to go a different direction, which is really looking at the mind and, you know, our limiting concepts. Now, I hope you can take this, any openness and stillness that this has afforded you with you, and know that the next time we come back, which is in 2 weeks, that we're going to be doing the 4 questions from the work by Byron Katie that looks at our limiting beliefs, the places that we don't believe we can have what we so want, that there isn't enough, we'll never get what we truly, truly want. So that's the end. I just want to thank you all for showing up. This has been delightful. I love our international community. It feels just lovely as we think about these points, these golden nuclei throughout the universe, the world, that we're opening to something new, something wonderfully creative. Thank you all. Thank you, Brian, for your help.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thanks,
That was
Elaine.
great.
Good night,
Elaine.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.